Probably. You have to do everyone. All of a sudden, I'm very sweaty. Your mic is not muted. I just had her do it. It's better for all of it. Yeah, looks good to me.
All right, everyone. Welcome to How Design Live. It's not quite as in person as we're used to, but that's okay. We still have an amazing set of speakers in order for us to learn and grow and get a little bit better. My name is Stefan Muma. I'm the Director of Narrative Strategy for First Person. And we are here right now to get a little Hoodzpah on our design lives. This is our 4 cents, pages from the Hoodzpah Playbook with Amy and Jen Hood, the ridiculously talented design siblings running the equally cool SoCal brand identity shop, Hoodzpah. With all their spare time you have running a design shop, Amy and Jen, they both co-founded the creative meetup Connecting Things. They co-authored the book Freelance and Business and Stuff, a guide for creatives, and taught a professional practices class out of Laguna College of Art and Design. They're going to wax a little poetic about the ins and outs of running a design business, helping us all find our community, our humanity, and our money maker of a product. But before we begin, a couple of small reminders. We have a Q&A session, time permitting, so at the end of this. So if you have any questions for Amy and Jen, type them in the questions box during the presentation and we'll ask them at the end. You've got a questions button at the bottom of your Zoom interface. Go ahead and click that button when you have a question and type your question in. I'll moderate those questions at the end if we have time. And then since we're using the interwebs to bring Amy and Jen's presentation to you, let me give you a little bit of advice. If you've got any other applications on your computer open right now, stealing precious CPU cycles, go ahead and close those down because you don't want to get into that weird thing where it gets all stoppy and jumpy, and that's part of your CPU cycle. So close down any other applications you've got going before the awesomeness that's about to hit your brains, right? And then one last thing, at the end of this, you'll get a window will open up and ask you to rate the session. Take a minute to rate the session. It helps How be able to establish programming in the future. So make sure you go ahead and do that. All right. Let's rock with a fake virtual round of applause. Please help me welcome Amy and Jen Hood.
Stephen, thank you.
I can hear the cheers now.
Oh my gosh.
Cheers from your homes across America and beyond.
Also, I'm very competitive. So now that I know we're getting rated, I want top marks. So chat, audience, tell us what we need to do to win your favor and top marks. But honestly, we're really excited to be here. And we're just excited to kind of share the last 10 years with you all. We've been a company for 10 years and we
almost
are
10 years.
Yeah, almost 10 years. And we are Hoodzpah.
Yeah.
And we are a nimble branding and design studio based out of Southern California. What does that really mean? Nimble means small.
We're small. Studio, firm, agency, we've called it all wrong things. And I think we landed on studio because there's 4 of us and we're independent. I don't know. You tell me, what are we supposed to call ourselves? Ketchup, who knows?
We also say Southern California because we're kind of hoping that you'll think that means Los Angeles. What it really means is Orange County. You might know us from such reality shows as The Real Housewives of Orange County or The Hills.
Yes.
Or Laguna Beach.
These are our cash crops in Orange County.
Reality show TV stars are our exports.
Yes, they are. If you're wondering about our name Hoodzpah of the studio that we started together, the word chutzpah is a Yiddish term. We grew up in upstate New York and we were surrounded by the Jewish community. And this word was used all the time. And we always thought it was just like a normal word that everyone knew, but it's actually a Yiddish word that means the quality of audacity for good or bad. So we slotted our last name into there.
Designers love puns.
Because we wanted to make work, design, branding solutions that were very bold, brazen, except we only wanted to use it for good. So no badness here, hopefully.
So like on a scale, a chutzpah scale of 1 to 10, 1 being Toby Flunderson from The Office.
The least chutzpah thing ever.
The least chutzpah.
Total pushover.
To 10, which would be like brand new commenters. We're about a 5. Like, we've got some boldness, but we're not too aggressive. We're, somewhere between dribble commentators and design Twitter. And this is a little bit of a sampling of some of our work that we've done recently.
So pretty much we started out as generalists. We were doing anything that anyone would hire us for because we were desperate. We started Hoodzpah. It wasn't very glamorous. We started it out of necessity because the job we were at folded and we didn't have a job and it wasn't a good time to get hired. 2011, it was just, we couldn't find a good position. So we were like, let's just start our own thing. And eventually we kind of figured out what we were good at is logos, branding, visual identity systems. So this is kind of a smattering of some of the logos that we've done. And also recently we've started turning our hand a little bit towards type design. So we've been making typefaces and fonts. Here's one of them, Beal font, inspired by Memphis. Here's another, Beverly Drive, inspired by Beverly Drive, Hollywood. And this is a great one for the holidays if you all need a font for your upcoming Christmas cards and stuff, holiday cards. And then this is Lone Pine, which is kind of like a
reverse contrast, inspired by California 395. Real funky chunky.
Yeah. So we've kind of, our niche is definitely in custom type design, whether that be for branding or for fonts or just, type design in general. You can kind of see a little of that here. We use it, in our visual identity projects for like restaurants or all kinds of startups. We work small companies to large. And we were just talking about with Steven, the host, about the Lakers. We got to work dream project with the Lakers on a 60th anniversary poster, which was so exciting. So, we started out working with just friends and family for like, $200 a pop for unlimited rounds of revisions, which I don't recommend to anyone, but we didn't know any better. We started out there and now almost 10 years later, we've got this client roster that we're really proud of. And we're like, how the heck did we get here? So we tried to kind of, be retrospective and look backward. And that's what we're going to talk about in our talk today. But just to give you a little behind the scenes, this is our team. That's Amy on the left. That's Arturo. He's one of our designers. That's B, another designer. And then that's me, Jen. And yes, we are twins.
We are twins. That's Jen on the left and me. I'm on the right. I have the longer hair.
For all of you Enneagram enthusiasts, Amy's a 7, which means that she's going to like beat her computer like a dirty rug at one moment and then be super passionate and gregarious another moment. She's got highs and lows, but it's really exciting. I'm a 9. I'm the pushover peacemaker. If any of you know what we're talking about. Pretty much Enneagrams are like horoscopes for Christians. That's what someone told me. I don't think that's true either. But anyways, so here's a little bit about how we got here. It all started 9 years ago when we started Hoodzpah.
But really, it was more like 26 years ago. This is how it started. We were, 8 or 9 years old, living in upstate Syracuse, New York, and we designed our own costumes. And for Halloween, we were packaging design.
We were double mint gum sticks.
We were corporate packaging for Halloween. The writing was on the wall that we were destined to be designers. And actually, our costumes melted in the harsh New York fall, it was snowing on Halloween. So we used water-based inks. That was a failure. But you can see that we were very creative and very we like to do our own thing. So that led to us eventually starting our own company, which we always wanted to do. But again, how did we get here?
Well, I think we were destined for logos and branding specifically because I found this the other day in my 6th grade diary. So I was obsessed with this boy named Troy Puckett. Troy, if you're out there, I still have warm feelings for you. But so I made a secret symbol that me and my friends would draw on our shoes so that we could secretly declare our love for him without saying a word because we were terrified. So we would draw this logo, which I didn't know it was a logo at the time, but this was my first ever logo was for In the Name of Love for Troy Puckett. But check out the rest of this page. There's a list of at least 20 other girls in my class who are obsessed with this guy. What is this, Sister Wives? Like, obviously there's a supply and demand problem here. But anyways, I just wanted to show you all that. But back to our purpose of this talk. Being retrospective about how we got from working, you know, kind of like little small time jobs to getting our dream clients, we were like, let's see if we can quantify how we got here, what made the difference, into 4 equations for designers or creatives of any type, really. And I know what you're thinking. Why math so early in the morning? Don't worry, it's going to be fun.
Equation number 1 is when we looked back and we thought about what made the difference. It's definitely all about finding your people. So how did we do that? Step 1 is to humanize, and that means yourself and your brand. So we did that just because, you know, we grew up in Southern California,
and around here, lifestyle brands are huge. So, you know, Vans footwear, like when they're selling a shoe, they're not selling a shoe, they're selling the lifestyle behind it. They're showing you the skate riders and, you know, like the California coast and, you know, all these cool, you know, skate parks like right on the coast. Like you're buying it because you believe in that lifestyle. And so we're like, we need to humanize ourselves like that and show behind the scenes. We need to, you know, show our tutorials, show our process, just show the stupid things that we're interested in, like, you know, music, sports, movies. And that helped us early on to just make ourselves like relatable, you know? And then when it comes to creating,
you have to create obviously for your clients, like that's a given, right? You have to make things for your clients, but you also need to take the time to make things for yourself, just for the heck of it. When we first started, Jen said we were unhireable. Well, this is why. This is our early work. We had been working at this print house where we did ads and magazine layout for this coupon clipper knockoff, essentially. And so this was our portfolio. We didn't want to do more of this work. We wanted to do the kind of work that we were passionate about. And that was stuff like this. So what we did was we started making the kind of work we wanted to get. So all of these things that you see on the screen right now are projects that we just made because we were passionate about classic cars, motorcycles, the beach, California lifestyle, travel, illustration, these things that we hadn't gotten a chance to flex at our previous job. We were like, now's our chance. We need to attract our kinds of people. And doing these projects and just shamelessly promoting them online, you start to find your people. You start attracting like-minded people who are interested in what you're interested in.
And shocker, it led to eventually getting all the things on this page are all paid work that 100% were related to people seeing the work on the previous page, which we did for ourselves out of passion and with no, you know, recompense of money whatsoever. But, you know, that led to being able to work with Red Bull on this road trip project because they saw in our work that we could do the kind of thing that they were interested in. And they wanted to work with people who were also passionate and like-minded. So you can see the correlation between these two styles. That was for us and that was for clients.
Yeah, motorcycle shop, a friend doing a documentary, building a motorcycle, even a popcorn brand that just loves retro culture. Like you can see how they're all kind of random, but there's a similar tie that binds.
A commonality. Another example, we love sports. The Lakers are our team. We love the NBA. And we were like, one day we would love to work with them. But there's no proof that we have ever worked in that industry or have done any work, you know, in that field at all. So we started giving ourselves a little project. When we were watching the playoffs, we would just design one illustrated GIF in this new style we wanted to test out every night of the playoffs. And so that by the end of it, we had this series that we could show, hey, we can do this consistent theme and this fun kind of style, hoping that one day, you know, if we did reach out to the Lakers or we did reach out to the NBA with that cold email, that they would see, oh, okay, these people get what we're about.
And again, that we would try to start like attracting like-minded clientele.
And while the NBA didn't just call us the next day because we posted these on social media. That's not how it works. But we got the best middle thing, which was that a company who was starting, who loves basketball called Fanhood, this guy was starting a newsletter, a curated newsletter about all things NBA. He came to us and said, I love what you did. Can you do my branding? And that's all we could have ever asked for. So that led to this project.
Paid project, yeah.
Paid project.
You can see fun retro colors. We got to do brand identity, type design, color palettes, and editorial layout, and hey, illustration. And can you see that this is pretty much exactly the style that we had done in the previous slide? So it's funny how work engenders similar work. So if you aren't getting the kind of work you want, you got to show it. You got to show what you can do.
Exactly. So that's why it's important to create. But the last step is huge, investing. And investing in others, I feel like it gets harder as we get further in our careers. Obviously, we get busy, especially as we climb that corporate ladder. We feel like, oh, I don't have time to go to the meetups or to do those kinds of things. But you know, when you're thinking about relationships, you can't wait till you need relationships to invest in them. You can't be like that friend who disappears when they get a girlfriend, and then when they break up, they want to come back and hang out. It's like, wait a minute. So you have to invest knowledge, time, transparency with your community. And in return, you're hoping that that audience is going to give you back trust, which can lead to all kinds of great things like human connection, brand loyalty, referrals, hell yes, and salespeople. I know, gross word, but this is how it works. You have to give to get. So I hope you're listening as much as you're hoping people are going to talk to you on, social, anywhere, email, everywhere.
So this is how you find your people. And the first obvious people that you find is clients, like we talked about. But secondly, it's fans. It's people who want to be your brand ambassadors. And that's not like people you're paying to wear your swag. It's not like that. It's people who are genuinely getting something out of what you're sharing. And so they want to promote you to their friends like, hey, I know these amazing designers. They're awesome. These are loyalists for life. And it's so much stronger than any ad you could buy or any cold email you could send. This is a personal vote of confidence from somebody because they believe in you.
Yeah. And of course, you're going to uncover peers and mentors. And that's been a huge game changer for us. I mean, we didn't know it was wrong to charge $300 for unlimited rounds of revisions on a logo until we went to a meetup where everyone was like, stop doing that.
They're like, you do what now? Yeah, no, don't do that.
And that's why it was so important to find those peers who've now become mentors and helped us get where we've gotten. But the most important thing about finding your people is that they're going to tell you the truth about you that you can't see for yourself, because we're all in a haze of our own ego. And it's like, we can't see what things we're good at, what things we're experts at, because a lot of times the things we want for ourselves are a little bit different than what our actual audience wants from us, right? And so we started listening early on because people were emailing and calling and asking us constantly, how did you start your studio? How do you freelance? How do you price? What do you use for contracts? And we were writing all these emails and spending all this time answering these questions constantly. And we realized, gosh, we should just turn this into a product. Let's turn this into a book. And so that became a product for us when we released it and when we kind of fine-tuned it, that we never set out to do that. We never thought we were good at business, but because we listened to what our people were asking of us, we uncovered a product that's now become 15% of our yearly revenue. It's a passive income stream. And
it's led to speaking. It's led to all kinds of things.
And we got to do fun promo graphics for it, which I always love. But so if you're looking to freelance, this also led to a video course that we put together. We've got the book, we've got the course. If you want to hang out, let's talk about it. We're very passionate about it.
So you can see that a problem led to uncovering a product. And that's our second equation here. A problem solved plus the peer group that you found. That's how you find your product. And it's hopefully a passive one. So when you find your peer group, a lot of times they're people that do the same thing as you. And so they have the same problems as you. If you're attracting like-minded creatives like designers, photographers, and things like that, they have similar problems to you. And if you share your solution with them, you can productize that in the form of like a course or a download or a book or something like that. And you can help people, and you can
make some money on the side,
an extra income stream.
And this is what's interesting for us is our services target a whole different audience. Those are non-creatives, our services of branding and identity, whereas our products target our peer groups. And so they're not cannibalizing each other. Mm-hmm. It's just interesting. Equation number 3, how to get more out of your career. So hard work plus talent plus soft skills equals a happy career.
Now, the first one is obvious. It's in every rap song. Hard work, you have to put it in. You have to do the hustle, right? You have to be willing to put in the time, the sweat, and the tears, and the blood, potentially.
The
blood sacrifices.
Blood sacrifices and blood rights, they're always required.
The talent. Now, that's kind of intangible. You have to have a little. You honestly don't have to have that much. We are not the best designers. You don't have to be the best designer to get a really great job and get paid really, really well. You can obviously grow your talent by investing in courses and extra learning and just just testing your skills and that kind of thing. But again, that's a little bit more intangible. The secret sauce, the thing that can take any creative and put them over the edge is soft skills. And so what does that mean? Soft skills are things like attitude, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, decision-making, social skills, communication. Communication is a big one. Now, these things are like those intangible things. It doesn't have anything to do with your talent, doesn't have anything to do with your skill level. It has everything to do with you being able to understand and communicate human to human. We're all just big balls of emotion at the end of the day. And so if you can talk to someone on their level and meet them where they're at, that makes a huge difference, whether you're working for yourself or somebody else.
And definitely soft skills have taken us places we never should have gotten, but because we've always been very social and I've always really kind of forced ourselves out of our comfort zones to go to local meetups, to go to awkward Zoom chats with people you've never met before. Good job, everyone, for being here. To go to meetups and conferences. This is kind of a chronology of some of the incredible projects we've landed because of these social interactions. So a friend referral led to the Tribeca Film Fest, and that was probably the first recognizable logo on our carousel that started earning us that kind of perceived expertise by people visiting our site. A local meetup, we met someone who worked at ASICS and got a project there. A local agency subcontracted us for the History Channel and Google. We got to add those logos to our client carousel. And then it kind of started tumbling, like conference that we went to, we met just a person who was going to the conference who invited us to work with Vox Media. In Instagram DM from 20th Century Fox asking us to work on title treatments. Now, I know this sounds kind of like annoying, but it's just the idea that keep putting yourself in rooms that you don't belong in because you just don't belong in them yet. And if you're in that room and you don't know what to say, just listen, take notes. The first, meetups that we went to when we knew nothing and we were just young, dumb creatives, I was literally just writing down phrases.
I didn't even know half of what they were talking about. I would just write down stuff. I'd be like, Ruby on Rails, right? Write it down, Google it later. You won't know everything going in, but just turn your ears on, start listening and start asking questions. People mostly want to talk about themselves. Just start asking questions and be invested in others. They will become your best friends so fast. And it's probably like, oh, how nice for you. 20th Century Fox slid into your DMs. How good for you. But to be honest, throughout this whole process of our company growing and us working with these big clients, we hadn't really figured out, even 5 years into our studio, how to really streamline our processes. And we were still having the same problems that probably a lot of you have faced either in-house or working for yourself. And that was problems like people saying, I don't know what I want yet. I'll know it when I see it, and things like that. And this became really clear to us when we were working with a client that we love and we all are great friends today called Docent. And this client, us and this client laugh about this now. I would never talk about a client without their approval like this, but we laugh about it now because we still work together. But at the beginning, there was no trust there. And that's because we were letting the client lead the project out of fear because this was our baby dream project. It was a brewery and it was also their baby dream project. And so all of us were acting out of fear and we were letting the client drive the project instead of us leading them through it in a positive way. And they would call us text us changes at night, call us all hours of the weekend. They wouldn't send emails with changes. They wanted to do everything over the phone. Every nightmare situation you can think of, they did. The thing of, I just don't like it. I'll know it when I see it. Waffling on direction, continually changing what they wanted. Can we see more options? It's just not there yet.
Yeah, not being able to visualize, not respecting the scope, not remembering, changes they gave us on the phone, micromanaging. It's funny because we say that these are all client problems, but they weren't. This was not the client's fault. This was a design parent problem. We were letting the client run the project instead of vice versa. We were not presenting ourselves as experts who knew what we were doing. And clients like kids or puppies thrive with structure. So equation 4 that we realized from this situation is how to be a good design parent. So we realized, okay, at the beginning of projects, we need to help clients verbalize their fears. Then we need to set the rules of engagement. And then we need to help them mind the goal. And this is how we'll make progress.
So verbalizing fears, when you verbalize something, it gives you power over it. And you just want to set the terms of failure so that you know exactly what your client's worst fear is so that you can make sure that you're comforting them and you're explaining to them as you go in each process how you're going to avoid that. And so the second thing here is setting the rules for success. So you not only want to set up, okay, what's the worst case scenario? How do we ruin this project? Because we're definitely not going to do that. We also set up, how are we going to win at this project? What's the terms for success? What does the process look like? Transparency is your best friend. The more transparent you are with your client, the more comfortable they're going to feel with you leading the project because they don't feel like they have to say, when's this coming? What happens here? I don't understand. The minute they feel scared or confused or lost, they're going to start trying to grab the wheel and then you're going over the sheer cliff edge. So make sure you're transparent and you're communicating.
And then after you've set those rules of engagement and everyone's happy and on the same page, it's so key throughout the project to remind everybody why you're doing it, which means reminding them of your research at the beginning. Who is the target audience? What is the mood board? What is the project goal that we all agreed on? And every phase of proofs, you're always reminding of those things so that they're not getting off the rails and so that everyone's staying on a combined goal. And that's how we started making progress with clients and having way more healthy relationships and saving a lot of time for everybody involved.
Now, this last one, I know we already gave you our 4 cents, but this is one for free. This is one for free, and it's probably the most important one. And this is something a mentor told us a long time ago when every young designer asked that question, well, I'm not there yet. I'm not making quick enough progress. Like, how do I get the big clients like you all did? You know what? 99% of life is process. If you can't enjoy the process and count the little wins as you go, it's going to make for a miserable existence. So this is where gratitude and not attitude comes in. Remember every day some little thing, some little win that you can count. Because if you're constantly just thinking about how you haven't gotten there yet, it's just going to be really, really tough. So
it's going to be a slog.
Yeah.
So put it on a sunset, make it pop, put it on a mug, drink your coffee in it every day. Gratitude, not attitude. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being with us so early in the morning.
Well, guys, that was fantastic. Wow. You guys are absolute rock stars. There's a couple of questions that have come in that I wanted to throw your way. And I've written down a couple as well, just kind of trying to, take some thoughts and put them together. One of the questions that came in was, when you guys started, do you think it helped having each other rather than being a solo act? So many of the folks that are in the audience right now, I guarantee you, are like, I want to do what they did. And I feel like they had each other to lean on and I'm by myself. Like, how was that experience?
Stephen, I tell people all the time, I wish everyone had a twin, but guess what? You can. In a way, when we tell our students at LCAD, we tell our students, or even just peers who ask us like, yeah, but I'm alone. I don't have someone like a cheerleader rooting me on. Find your people. Remember when we said find your people? We have a text thread group because guess what? Jen's tired of me all the time. I ask her questions all the time and she doesn't have time. She's busy. So I actually have friends that I have a text thread with where I say like, hey, Josh or Jed, like, how does this look? Something's off about this. I need quick feedback. Jen's busy. So even sometimes we don't have time for each other because we split our projects. Like we both spearhead different projects. So get on a text thread in this chat. Take some names down of people, like start meeting people, even just people on Twitter. I text people that I've never met in real life, but I just really respect their work. And we talk a lot on Twitter and they're just people I respect. And we just talk design. We just are there for each other and we lend an eye. So find your design twin.
Gotcha. Great advice. Another question that came in, at what point did you move from working from home and having kind of a home setup to creating a studio where you went off and got an office? Like, was there a moment where you went, all right, we can't do this anymore. We can't have people over to our kitchen. That doesn't work. Like, was there a moment that happened?
Well, actually, we've always had a home studio. Like we've always got places that were a little bit bigger that had that extra space for it. But we've always had a home studio because early on when we started our studio, we always thought, oh, we'll get the big office. We'll, have the hours, we'll get all the employees. But then we realized we left the corporate mill because we didn't want to do the 9 to 5. Why would we get another office that we have to show up to? So we actually have a virtual studio and we have had it even before the pandemic where, our designer, Arturo, works out of LA and we're just down south an hour and we just are on, Skype or text if we ever need each other. And we just work from home. So
I think that's one of those things where it's one of those perceived things of like, I haven't made it unless I have an office. People won't respect me if I don't have an office or a nice car. There's so many workarounds to things like that. Like take an Uber X, there's so many workarounds to putting these upfront costs that everyone says you have to have. You don't have to have it. Sometimes you can turn what seemingly is, a drawback into a selling point. We started telling clients we have a virtual office and it sounded really important. We said, we hire the people that you need for every project and we're all virtual and it allows us to hire the best talent from around the world. We sold it as a selling point instead of we work from home and, everyone, nobody's here.
Exactly. All right. So I've gotten a couple of questions that all kind of roam around the same thing. And for folks who are struggling with this aspect of running a business, this is a pretty common question. It's a common question I get. It's a common question that I think a lot of folks want to ask. when you first started, you talked about marketing yourself. And when you first start, you don't have a lot of business. And I think that everyone in this session right now would go, I'd love to jump out on my own if I had a pocket of business already sitting there for me to do so, right? So when you started marketing yourself, you talked a little bit about, creating assets for yourself, the type of work that you wanted to get and putting it out in the ether. When you say putting it out in the ether, how did you market yourself? Like where did you go? How did you build that community that you started to, when you started talking about fans, how did you start building that? Like, give us a little bit about the beginning of this and where you started drumming up business.
Yeah. Well, I think, to be honest, our earliest business was existing family and friends, which they always say never work with them. But to be honest, if you're starting your own thing, that's your initial audience, and you have to be okay with that. And you have to treat those people with respect, because they're going to refer you to their friends. And then it kind of grows from there. But also, we were just meeting people organically. We did a lot of ground game, as they say in politics, which is we would just literally go to meetups and meet people and just try and make genuine connections. And then we would follow them on social, and they usually followed us back because we made a human connection. It wasn't just some random following them online. It was someone that they had met. So I think the power of meeting people to build an audience is really important. Even if you're virtually meeting someone in a Zoom call like this, it still adds that extra level to where someone's going to follow you back more likely than if they've never even heard of you. So to this day, I still go to little, free events that people put on Zoom chats. Like the other day, one of the brand directors for Nike did a free Zoom chat hangout with people, and only 17 people showed up. I was one of 17 people, and I had all that access to her. And then I followed up with her after on LinkedIn, and now we're connected. So it's like, you can never really underestimate how much just like going out of your way to meet new people can really make a difference. And then a lot of it was just social media and then connecting with them, so that we did make that like formal connection where they could see our work constantly being shared.
Yeah. And there's this fallacy that you need a lot of followers, but you don't. You just need a few really genuine connections. And that's really all it takes to have a really good audience that you can grow, a pretty decent company around. You just need to do right by your first few clients, and they will be your proponents for life. So even if it's a small job, even if it's a free job pro bono, treat it like they're Nike. Treat it like it's the biggest client in the world, because they're going to tell their friends about that experience. So you want to make sure it was a positive one.
Awesome. Well, guys, we're right up at the time, so I want to make sure I'm respecting time. Thank you for an amazing session. It was incredibly insightful. For those who are attending, this session will be available on demand for the next 24 hours. If you wanted to watch it again, of course, take a look at that. And don't forget to rate the session when you are all done. I want to thank you guys for spending a little bit of time with us. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.